Let's join Jason George, wildlife adventurer. Is it a bird? Is it a beaver? Is it a reptile? Nope, it's just an unusual mammal. Do you know what it is? It's not a beaver duck, but a platypus. This animal is unique to Australia. It is the only egg-laying mammal, also the only mammal to produce venom, and it has electroreceptors in their bills to find prey as they close their eyes, ears, and nose underwater. This is the Great Platypus Hunt of 2024, where Jason will hopefully take one day in the wild to look for the platypus. But we have ventured first to learn more about it at Lone Pine Sanctuary. This is the only place that you can see a platypus not in the wild other than the San Diego Zoo. The platypus will be hard to find in the wild as it is a solitary animal that only comes together to mate and normally leaves its den only at dusk to forage all night long, coming back at dawn. So I need to do a lot of research before I head out, and luckily at Lone Pine they had 2 platypuses. It has a stream-like body, webbed feet, broad tail, and a rubber bill. It is the color brown with gold and gray underneath. As we take a closer look at the paws, you can notice that the claws are not at the end of the webbing, like most animals, like ducks, crocs, turtles, but they're actually in the middle of the feet. And the platypus will actually fold back this webbing while it's digging. Platypuses, although they are cute, you have to be very careful as the male has this spur on its back ankle. There's a venom gland in the thigh, and this spur, which looks or acts similar to a fang, is poisonous to humans, and it hangs on the back of both feet, as you can see located in this photo. Only the males have this venomous spur, and it can cause excruciating pain to humans, so be careful. The spur is much bigger than the paws or the claws on this platypus, as you see. And what makes the platypus also interesting is that it actually has grinding plates, not teeth, in its mouth. As we look at an x-ray, we can actually notice how elaborate the rib cage is of the platypus. It's got so many more ribs than a human. And if we notice the shoulder blades, they are actually towards the head, not like ours. And if you were to compare it to like a dog, they would go straight down, but the platypus actually has them on the side. And here is what the spurs look like in the x-ray. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying this. The platypus is 37 to 63 centimeters long, can weigh 3 kilograms, can swim 35 kilometers per hour, lives to about 16 years in the wild, and has an incubation of 10 days. I did the behind the scenes platypus tour where I got to prep the mealworms and the earthworms, and we had to clean the dirt off to make it easier for them to eat. They're given crayfish so that they can snack on whenever they want, and now we were getting ready to go and feed them. Just like humans, they leave the heads behind so it's easy to count. And they also have daily enrichment activities. So that's where they come out and they walk up. Yo! Inside the tank, so this is their burrow, so they'll crawl along here, and then they come down, and so there's all those spots so that they can check to make sure that the platypus isn't stuck, and that's what they nest in, and then they come back, and they do it all on their own. The platypuses must be fed live food so that their electrolocations in their beaks can find the food. They eat small invertebrates, so crustaceans, worm, mollusks, larvae of insects, frogs, and they forage for all of this underwater, and then they bring it up to the surface in these cheek pouches to eat. While we watch them swimming, you might have noticed some air bubbles that have come out of them. That's because they have a double layer of fur, which acts as waterproofing and insulation. And as they go deeper, the pressure pushes this air out. To to find a platypus in the wild, it's going to be very hard. But I know that they live in freshwater streams and rivers and in the eastern state of Australia. And I'm in Australia from October 25th to 31st. And so I spent some time before I came on this trip trying to do some research to find where I had the best opportunity. And this sanctuary was it. And after encountering them through the sanctuary and the behind the scenes tour, I knew I had to spend at least one day in the wild. So I joined forces with a couple research groups, but they weren't available while I was, so they gave me the location to go and look. And I did my best. The only problem is I didn't realize how far it was and how hard this spot might be to get to on foot. So I was offered a ride from somebody, and when I was actually leaving this spot, well, the bus actually wasn't running. So I actually had to hitchhike home. Oh, well, they actually hitchhiked me or helped me get to a location that was easier for me to get home. But it was all worth it. And again, although I didn't get to see the platypus in the wild, I got to have this amazing experience with it in a sanctuary. And this is Barracks, the oldest platypus out there. He's 25 years old. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below. And don't forget to share. While I was out on my wildlife platypus trip for one day, I did see a whole bunch of turtles, some lizards, but the highlight of the trip had to be spotting my first tawny frogmouth. And then I met a guy who had a tawny frogmouth on his property, on a nest. So I got to see one baby. But while observing, I actually noticed that there were two babies. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. And keep enjoying wildlife. Until next time.